Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. Today is Sunday, October 15th, in the year 2023, and I am Deb McBride, recording this from lovely Escazú, Costa Rica. And I hope that you all got a chance to experience the eclipse yesterday. I know it wasn't visible in all areas of the world, but we got to see it yesterday here, and it was really beautiful. I didn't see the entire ring. You could actually see that on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. But right here in the garden, we did a really good job with our eclipse glasses, looking at the eclipse, seeing it, experiencing it. It was really beautiful. And it is an experience that is not to be missed when they happen in your region. So don't ever miss the chance to see an eclipse if it does happen by you. And of course, someone like me is going to be interested in needing to see the eclipse, because that's what I do. So in the meantime, I had my eclipse masterclass, The Energetics of Eclipses, last Tuesday, the 10th of October, and it was very lovely and a wonderful time. And it's still available for you to purchase for $33. And I highly advise it because we have another eclipse coming on the 28th. And that one is going to be with Jupiter. It's going to be a different energy than this. And I can tell you that it's valuable to have this information because I talked a lot about the eclipse corridor that we're in now. I gave the do's and don'ts. I explained, what the nature of eclipses is and why they are the way they are and why they're intense and what determines when we're going to have an eclipse. So I invite you, contact me, deb@debmcbride.com or info@thegoldenastrologer.com to purchase the masterclass, only $33. And at the masterclass, before the eclipse, I announced my latest project, my latest immersion that I'm going to give in mid-November. It's called Creation Immersion. And this is a workshop. It's going to be 4 days, 2 in 1 week, 2 in the next, and possibly 5 days, because we may need it, of how to create content and educational offers. So if you have things you want to go out there and you want to start creating content, I highly advise you take this workshop. It'll be in a month, and it's going to be where you decide what you want to share and how to create an offer and bring it to life and present it to an audience and how to get that audience and what to do and some of those things. But creating something, becoming a content creator, this is what we're going to be doing. So I invite you. It's 333. So the other thing is 33 and this is 333, and it's going to be me with you side by side, hands on. Together we'll go through this and I will help you create. And again, if you'd like to purchase this and join us, you can go email me, deb@debmcbride.com, info@thegoldenastrologer.com, or you can go directly to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, and go to book online, and these options are available, both for the masterclass and this creation immersion. So please join me. It'll be great fun. So that eclipse, it was for me a series of crazy situations, and the energy was so intense and the energy was so nonstop that it's always this experience of intensity and rapid fire events and rapid fire conversations and stuff happening simultaneously that you don't want to happen simultaneously, or it's like one big thing that knocks you off kilter. And this is the nature of eclipses. We don't ever really know what they're going to exactly be because they have an element of surprise to them. For me, every day, I needed to calm my nervous system every day. And this energy was so intense with the Pluto going direct on Tuesday. And plus all the other stuff I talked about. Go back to last weekend's podcast. You'll hear it. It was too much. Pluto going direct and pulling things out of the underworld and putting them out there for all of us to see. This was too much. I had computer issues. Wednesday, I was working on my computer and all of a sudden I get this message, no backup since September 27th. And I'm like, this is not good. So why is this? So I checked my airport time capsule and basically it told me that the internal hard drive where I was backing up everything has died. So I had to back up other ways, Dropbox, iCloud, etc., which as a new backup take forever. They're still backing up from Wednesday. And, and then I was in a session on Thursday, so I was backing up and I was freaked out and that my computer hasn't been backed up. And on Thursday, I was in a session and the computer died at the end of the session, like crashed. Now, obviously it didn't die completely, thank God, but the computer crashed and I was like, oh no, not now. Not with no backup for 2 weeks. So I had to go reboot the computer and thank God everything was fine. But maybe it was just too much for the poor computer backing up in 2 places, which still continued to back up. So that was not a welcome event. But things like this that are a little harebrained and make you a little crazy while you're trying to get things done in your day happening simultaneously, not good. I was trying to go into a meeting the other day. The pharmacy that was delivering my thyroid medicine was coming at the moment that I was going into the meeting. He was supposed to come earlier. He didn't get there earlier. He didn't know where I was. He was trying to find it, couldn't find it. I had to put the guard on the phone to tell him and describe it. And then he showed up and I was late not very late, a little late for my meeting. So these were the kinds of things. And a really fun thing, and I'm being sarcastic, you know that, was that I had to get up in the morning, go into the garden and stand on the earth, okay? And that's what I did to ground myself and let all this electricity flying through me go back to Mother Nature. And that was amazing. And I have to keep doing it, right? But, I go out in the garden first thing in the morning. And what do I find? I found that the raccoons came through my garden during the night and left me presents. Okay, and you know what those presents were. So twice in the past week, and then this morning, a big present, a couple of presents actually. Not a good thing. So that caused me to have to take care of that stuff. So this is what I mean about eclipses. They bring surprise events. Everything is erratic. The animals feel them as well. I was surprised my cat didn't go hide in the closet. But the raccoons definitely felt it because they're doing things that they don't normally do. And they're like acting out of character, and I have to find a way to discourage this. That's going to be real fun. But this is the nature of eclipses. Weird, wacky, bizarre stuff going on. And it's really not something that is easy to get through, but we have to navigate it. And I talk all about that in my masterclass. But going outside, standing on the earth, which is a really good ritual to do for anyone, but for me particularly, it was really very pleasant, and it really helped me a lot. And so I had to keep regulating my nervous system. Throughout the day, I would go outside, close my eyes, stand out on the earth, go out and stand in the sun, connect with the sun, connect with nature. Very important. So this is something that is great to do during an eclipse. So in the meantime, we are not finished with eclipse season because we have a new eclipse coming on the 28th, which is a Saturday, not this coming Saturday, not yesterday, which was one eclipse, but the next following Saturday, the 28th. And this is something that we want to just pay attention to. I don't think the energy is going to be the same, but we'll see. We're not there yet, right? And in the meantime, we have a little bit of a quieter week, and thankfully for that, because we do need calibration time after an eclipse and after Pluto going direct. Now, remember what I said about Pluto. Pluto is now headed towards Aquarius. And if you are in Aquarius, you're probably noticing this. If you are remembering events that you experienced that were a little different back at the end of March through the beginning of June, those events may come back to you, and hopefully they were good ones. The end of March, the beginning of June, that whole section of time, Pluto was in Aquarius, and now it's going back to Aquarius, but it won't get there till January, but it doesn't matter. It's like the torch has been lit. Now we're heading towards Aquarius. And this is a big, deep transit. It's a big, deep transit. And Pluto is still squaring the nodes. And that was part of the eclipse as well. So there's something transformative going on. But Pluto is going to finish squaring the nodes as of the end of October. So that's something that is we should be aware of. It is something about the experience of changing direction, acknowledging what's fulfilling to you and going in that direction. There is some fated transformation going on here. So pay attention to that. It's very important. You may think back to earlier in, June when this all kind of started, and these last months, July, August, September. Now, there's been some deep movement in your life, and things going to shift and help you get to the next level of your life. That's what Pluto does. It helps us transform our lives. So we don't want to see it as a bad thing. I think Pluto in Capricorn has been difficult. I've said that before. I think it's been hard. But, it's a sign ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's got limitations and restrictions and duty, discipline. So Pluto wanted some sort of discipline while it was in that sign. Now it's going to be freedom oriented. I do think Pluto in Aquarius is going to be really fascinating and interesting and deeply freeing, and people are going to be starving for independence and freedom as they experience this Pluto in Aquarius. They're going to want to get their soul free, okay? And this is going to be a very profound experience, and we're going to get a great taste of it next year. Pluto will still step into Capricorn a little bit at the end of next year, but we are going to really start being aware of a shifting in the collective, okay? It's been complicated in the collective. Obviously, for the last week, it's been very complicated. It's been complicated for a year and a half, too. As you know, things in the world are rocky, and we just have to, if we find our sense of peace, if we find our sense of serenity and what gives us happiness and joy and fulfillment, we are bringing that to the world. So it's really important now to stay true to yourself. Like no other time before in your life, it's important to stay true to yourself and do what's fulfilling and makes you happy. Because the more happiness you bring to the world, the more right action you bring to the world. We can't change everything. We can't change people in faraway places, but we can do our part for contributing to the collective and to collective joy and happiness. And the more we bring that to the world, the better chance the collective has to finding that for everyone. So, not easy. Not going to change everybody. Not in a minute, for sure. But you got to do right by yourself and take right action. In the meantime, this week we get the Sun and Mercury are going to be conjunct in Libra. And that's Thursday, the 19th. And that's a very interesting, they conjunct every now and again. They are, the Mercury and the Sun conjunct often enough in the year because they travel very closely to one another, and they do it every now and again. And it's interesting because it's in an air sign. So air signs work well with Mercury because they're intellectual. Mercury is a planet of intellect. And so while Mercury does not rule Libra or have any real association with Libra, it does function well there. And the Sun to Mercury there brings us a place of understanding and connecting with a certain level of aesthetic thought, and seeking balance, seeking harmony, seeking harmony in your mind. And that's a really, really good thing to look for. So that's a good key this week. Seeking harmony in your thoughts. Trying to get the noise out of your head. Seeking peace in your mind, peace of mind, and peace in your body, and finding the harmony for yourself. Because as the Sun and Mercury get together, they are going to be affecting Pluto at the end of Capricorn. So Mercury is going to challenge Pluto on Friday. So, in the midst of seeking balance and peace, we have to own some of our own darkness. Because Pluto brings up what's in the underworld and what is not seen in normal life. It brings up our darknesses and our unconsciouses and the things that we don't necessarily want to contend with, but that do exist. So you've always got dark, you've always got light. Can't always be light all the time. That's not going to happen. And simultaneously, you can't be dark all the time either. So what you need to be aware of is the balance of good thoughts, illuminative thoughts, which is the sun and Mercury together, and then this challenge to Pluto, with Mercury challenging it on Friday and then the sun challenging Pluto on Saturday. So a week after the eclipse, the eclipse was definitely bringing some Plutonian energies in because it was going to challenge Pluto a few hours after the eclipse. And now the sun finally, because the sun moves slower than the moon, the sun and Mercury are finally going and challenging Pluto, similar to what would have happened on the eclipse. Now, to me, energies today were still a little bit wacky, but you may still feel those energies of the eclipse Friday, Saturday of the coming week. Okay, so just be aware of this, all right? They are uncomfortable things. Sometimes Mercury and Pluto together brings really good strategic thoughts and can be really good in, managing things like your business. Also, it's very therapeutic to clear out the old thoughts that get in our way, our old unconscious patterns. But you have to be aware of it. You've got to straddle the light and the dark next weekend, okay? And it seems like we're always doing that, right? So then what's going to happen is that Mercury is going to enter Scorpio on Saturday, the 21st. And then October 23rd, which is Monday, which we'll talk about next week, the sun will enter Scorpio. So Libra season will come to an end. This is the last full week of Libra season. Okay, we are moving now out of Libra season and we're going to move into Scorpio season. So Mercury is going to step into Scorpio first. So that's going to be more water in the sky because Scorpio is a water sign. Mars is already in Scorpio and Mars likes to be in Scorpio. So Mercury doesn't hate being in Scorpio. It's sort of indifferent, but Mercury takes on a different tone once it goes into Scorpio. It gets more sarcastic, it gets a little bit wisecracking, and it is very sharp-tongued. Okay, so Mercury and Scorpio can be a little bit, ow, why did you say that? Ooh. And it's okay. It's only for a couple of weeks before Mercury goes into Sag, which is fun-loving Sag. Now, Mercury in Scorpio can also be very strategic, great for business acumen, great for sort of really penetrating to the depths of something you're studying. It's great for mysteries. It's great for research. It's great for probing beneath the surface and getting to the bottom of a matter. If you are a psychotherapist, you're going to find that very helpful. This is a good psychotherapy kind of aspect of Mercury going into Scorpio, this planetary placement. It is really good for getting deep into the matters of why something's going on, or getting deep into your own psyche, doing some really deep emotional homework. Scorpio is deep and penetrating. That's what we like about Scorpio. Scorpio gets a bad reputation, and I've said this before on this podcast. Scorpio can get a bad reputation. They get, they're vengeful, they're mean, they're this, they're that. No, they are deep and penetrating, and they are loyal people. I've always found Scorpios to be, salt of the earth people for the most part. There's bad Aquarians. I can say that, it's my sign. There's bad Scorpios. There's bad everything. We've got the dark and the light, again, always. And some people choose to express it differently. So maybe you don't know too many Scorpios in your life, but the Scorpios that I have encountered are mostly salt of the earth people. They're sincere, they're deep, they're loyal. If you are not loyal to them, and if you do anything disloyal to them, or you cross them in any way, that's when the Scorpio stings. Okay? So don't give them a bad reputation unless they sting you unnecessarily. But you have to understand the nature of Scorpio. So they're going to be a little sarcastic. They're going to be deep and penetrating, but they're very smart people, and they are really great in business. They're ambitious. If you get somebody with a good amount of Scorpio and Capricorn, boy, they can just take over the world. They're really good at running a business. They just have that knowledge. Scorpio rules the 8th house. The 8th house is other people's money. So they know how to bank and make bank, right? They know how to do all those things. They know how to they're good with the stock market and stuff because they have instincts. Scorpio is very intuitive. So it's good when we get into Scorpio season. It's not a depressing time of year. I know Halloween, it's kind of dark, and we in Costa Rica and any Latin countries, they celebrate the Day of the Dead. The 1st, the 2nd of November. It's really to honor the ancestors. And Scorpio understands that. That's their time of the year. It's a sign of transformation. They understand the deeper qualities of loss and transformation. And sometimes I have found that Scorpios are, people who go through something in their life very deep and profound and life-changing. And sometimes it's just they go through something, and so you don't see other signs going through it the way a Scorpio does, and they have to own it. And they have resilience of things that you just don't even understand. There's a depth and there's a resilience to them that you have to give them an enormous amount of credit for, because they are deeply, deeply, profoundly transformational, resurrection. They can resurrect after something deeply transformative. They just come back to life. So, wow. If anybody can teach you about transformation and resurrection and renaissance, it's a Scorpio. Remember that. So that's a profound thing that they bring to the world. So we will have the sun going into Scorpio Monday the 23rd, and we're going to have Mercury going into Scorpio Saturday the 21st. And you'll notice the shift in energies from Libra to Scorpio, and how this is something that we embrace every year. In the northern hemispheres, you have autumn, and that's when everything kind of dies off and gets ready for winter. And so just be aware of the die-off of something. It is a time when we let something go. It is a time of releasing. So we're entering the time of releasing. Now that South Node eclipse the other day, because that was the South Node in Libra that we've been experiencing, that had something to do with releasing also. So a lot of releasing is going on right now. We do it every year in the autumn, but this has been a powerful punch because of the South Node with the eclipse. Okay, so this is something to just be aware of. And what can you release now? What is it that no longer works for you in your life? Where can you clear something out and resurrect something? Where can you bring something back to life? Or where can you release things that you no longer need? Because this is the season of doing that. Where can you honor your ancestors? Because as we get into these next weeks and, early November from late October, we go to the time of honoring the ancestors, as I mentioned. So honoring the ancestors is always a powerful, powerful thing. Thanking them, having gratitude for them, that they help to give you life. So this is a deep moment when we thank our ancestors and have gratitude for them and acknowledge what we have, the good things we have from them. And then, some of the things we always, clearing ancestral patterns is always a good thing to do, especially this time of year, okay? So when you are aware, oh, I've carried this for these generations of whatever it means, poverty consciousness. It could be, warrior consciousness. Maybe you don't want to be fighting a war all the time. Maybe your ancestors were always fighting a war. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's some sort of consciousness that you don't really need in your life, but for them, it was a protective measure. So it's time to look at this as we go into the latter part of the year and then we go into Scorpio season. Look at what you are carrying that no longer suits your life, that may have been suitable for your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your parents. What was maybe a protective measure for them, but doesn't work in today's world for you, and it's been holding you back. This is one of the great gifts of Scorpio, is to be able to look at these things and say, I want to transform this, I want to release it, I want to transform it into something, beneficial for myself, and I want to let go of all the things I don't need for my life. And I honor my ancestors for using these abilities and skills and patterns that may have been useful for them. I don't judge them. I just don't need them, those kinds of things in my life. So that's very important as we move through into the season of Scorpio. We do have a lovely aspect happening on Saturday the 21st of Venus in Virgo, making a lovely trine to Jupiter in Taurus. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. That's something that doesn't happen very often. It happens, maybe twice a year. If we're lucky, yeah, they kind of move into that trine together. But this is great. Now, Venus in Virgo is, she's practical, she's hardworking, she's loyal, she's not all romantic, she's not all like flowers and sunshine. She's practical. Those are her good qualities. And she's there for you, and she's a good support system. If you want the job done right, you hire a Virgo, okay? So Venus, while it's not her favorite sign, getting the blessings of Jupiter is a really good thing, and I have a good feeling about that aspect. And so it will be something special to look forward to next Saturday, the 21st, as, Venus and Jupiter make this lovely relationship to one another. Jupiter being the planet of abundance and the planet of expansion. This is a great time to do a little bit of expansive work, right? A little bit things, where do you want to expand in your life? Just be aware that Venus and Jupiter together can make you feel like you've got all sorts of abundance, which is good, but don't take it to the point of overspending. Okay, because Venus and Jupiter can do that. Oh, I can spend this money that I don't have yet. I'm getting it next week. So just be aware of your spending and just use it as a great time to, connect with people. It's great for getting together with friends, connecting with your family, doing things that are beautiful for your home, creating aesthetic in your life. Really good for all those things. We like that. And then Mercury, as it enters Scorpio next weekend, we're going to see Mercury make a lovely relationship to Saturn. So I think Mercury's pretty busy this week, changing signs, meeting with the sun, squaring Pluto, and then it's going to trine Saturn. So if you do some big thinking, strategizing, connecting to new ideas, the experience of Mercury then trining Saturn is like, Sunday you'll feel it, but then Monday too, you can put it to good use. Mercury to Saturn is very useful and practical. Even though they're in water signs, Scorpio and Pisces, this can be something, practical around your emotions, practical around your feelings, practical in the way of understanding why you feel the way you do. Mercury and Saturn in a nice trine like that, a flowing aspect, gives us a place to really do some good journaling, get good ideas, get new ideas, something that can be workable and usable in our lives. It also helps us own responsibility very well. And also, since it's in water signs, take emotional responsibility for ourselves. So that's a very important thing to bear in mind. And that's it for this week. I invite you to join me if you'd like to have a session, and you can book it on my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, book online. You can join me in expansion mentoring, which is a 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month cooperation, co-creation. And you can email me about that if you'd like, deb@debmcbride.com, info@thegoldenastrologer.com. And also you'll find my stories and my Instagram reels and posts on Instagram, The Golden Astrologer. And I welcome you to my creation immersion. That'll be happening in November. And anything else that you might be interested in, you can always DM me or send me an email. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful, much calmer week ahead where we shift from Libra. And by the time I see you next week, it'll be the end of Libra and before we go into Scorpio. So thank you again, one and all. Much love. Beautiful week.